G'day, my name's Kit Perry and this is my Toyota 40 Series Land Cruiser we call Frank, as you can tell by the deadly shirt. In today's video I'm going to demonstrate how to change the injection pump timing on a 14BT engine specifically. However, the same process applies basically to any diesel engine with a VE style fuel pump. So, for example, 1HZ basically follows the same method. You have to find the timing specs for the motor that you're working on in particular, which is one reason why I'm doing this actually. So the 14BT, the factory turbo 4-cylinder Toyota diesel engine, came out in a very limited market. So it was really, as far as I can tell, pretty much just Japan and possibly Taiwan where it came out in Toyota Dyna trucks, for example. Whereas, I mean, in Australia we get 14Bs in Dynas and Toyota Coaster buses and things like that, but the 14BT was a really sort of limited market that was brought out in, and so unfortunately there's limited sort of literature on, the actual engine. So finding a factory service manual, for example, specifically for a 14BT is really difficult to find. I've got one for a 14B. I even managed to find one for a ME372 STI, which is a marinized version of the 14BT and based on the Toyota 14B block, which filled in a few blanks. For example, so the timing specs for the marinized version for the Yamaha ME372 STI is 1.2 off the top of my head, whereas the 14B timing marks are 1.31 to 1.37. I've done a little bit of research on the differences between, for example, marinized versions of Toyota engines, for example, and the factory sort of engines, and tried to sort of extrapolate, what would be the difference in the 14BT timing specs, because I can't find them. But unfortunately, it's really difficult to sort of get that, because there's a lot of factors that go into play with the timing specs that come from factory. Only if you look at 1HZ timing specs, for example, the European market has different specs to the Australian market has different specs to any other market. So yeah, it's sort of unfortunately a little bit of a guessing game. So the way I've been sort of approaching it is adjusting the timing and then tracking my fuel usage. So trying to sort of find that right balance between, being too retarded or too advanced with the pump. I've had it as far back as 0.7, but it was way too retarded at that point and, smoky. So I knew that's my sort of lower limit of the timing specs for it. At the moment, I've got it set at 1.2, which is the timing specs that the marinized version recommends. I'm going today to try and put it in the same sort of specs as a 14B, so I'm going to aim for about 1.33 or 1.34, around that sort of area, and then just to sort of see how it goes from there. In terms of the advantages and disadvantages of advancing or retarding a pump, I'm not going to go into that because it's pretty involved and full on, and it's good to do a bit of research on that if you're thinking about messing around with your timing. I wouldn't recommend just sort of jumping in and trying to advance your pump to get a bit more out of the engine, because there's a little bit involved in it. But what I'll try and do today is just show you basically what is the process for timing a VE style pump. So anyway, enough of me talking, let's get into it. Let's do this. So tools you'll need. Right, so tools you'll need. You will need a custom 12mm spanner. This dude here. This is one that I made up earlier. It's for one particularly difficult bolt at the back of the pump, close up to the block, and I'll show you that in a bit. You'll also need a 17mm spanner for the injection line nuts, because you've got to loosen them off. You will need a dial gauge, and you will need this bad boy here. So this is sort of like a special service tool. It's actually a timing gauge. You can get this from Denko Diesel, sell them. I can't remember off the top of my head how much it was, but it wasn't, overly expensive. And it's one of those special service tools that, you can't really make up, like you actually have to have. So that's a good one to get. And what else? You'll need a 12mm socket for, there's a couple of bolts that hold the pump in place. And you'll also need a 24, I think it is, 24mm socket so that you can establish top dead center. So let's get into it. All right, so first thing we have to establish top dead center. We do that by placing the 24mm over this guy here, and rotating the engine until we reach top dead center. So I'll do that, then I'll get back to you. All right, so this is going to be a hard one for you to see, but hopefully you can see it. Sort of down, there's my finger, there we go. Sort of right there, where my fingernail sort of is on the end there. That's the timing marks, and you can sort of see where I've got them lined up there. So that's step number one. All right, come around here. Okay, so the next thing, bring my light over. Okay, so obviously you've got the pump down in here, underneath here. The next thing you have to do is remove the center head plug bolt. That's the name for him, which is sort of in the middle, down in here, in the middle of, let me see the finger there, in the middle of the 4 injector lines. So you've got to loosen him off. It's a 12mm, so I'll use this one for it. You just have to be careful. On the inside of it, there's a copper washer, so you don't want to sort of lose that. So as you're removing it, just, take care. So I'll just put the phone down and pull that out now. You don't really need to see doing that. I don't think you're going to see very much anyway. I'll just do that and I'll show you the bolt when I get it out. Okay, that's him. So that's the center plug head bolt, whatever I said before, and that's a little copper washer that you got to be careful of. That's that. Okay, so that moves it. All right. Next one is to fit the dial gauge indicator. So try and sort of show you how it works. Basically, where that the center plug head bolt came out, this guy here fits in between the 4 sort of injector lines coming off, and then you screw it in till you sort of feel it, and you have your dial gauge attached to this end. All right, so basically, you attach your dial gauge, then this slots in this way, you screw it in to the center plug head bolt, and that's what we use. Give us a sec. Actually, I'll see if I can give you sort of a video of it. I don't know if you're gonna. No. All right, so here we go. So put him just there for you. Yeah, okay. So it's pretty hard to see, but anyway, there's your timing gauge going into the back of the pump into that way, and then your dial gauge or dial indicator there. So the next thing we have to do is rotate the crank counterclockwise until this needle here stops spinning, and then we zero the gauge, and that's what we use to determine what the timing is at the moment. So we'll do that. All right, so you tell me when it stops moving. Seconds. Okay, you ready?
Yeah. Stop.
Cool. All right. stopped moving? Okay, cool. So we need to zero the gauge. So we turn here, just unscrew that. Okay, so that's our 0 mark, just there. So the next thing is, so you can sort of see I've got it, zeroed. So the next thing I've got to bring it back around to top dead center, and then that will tell us where the timing is set at the moment. From memory, it should be around 1.2. So you should see this needle go 1 full revolution round and then end up around 0.2. So we'll do that now.
Do you want me to do anything?
Yeah, you can watch it. But... I need a light actually.
It stopped.
Yeah, that's just because I stopped moving. Actually, it should be pretty close to the top dead center there. Let's check it.
Yeah, am I done?
Yeah, probably. Oh no, not yet. Just wait 2 seconds. Yeah. Let's see if I'm at top dead center. Oh no. Not yet. We are past it, I think. 2 seconds. Oh yeah, we're way past it. Should be about there.
Why's he spraying you?
Did I?
What's he spraying?
I'm recording it now. Top tip, when you're doing the timing specs, make sure you have Mozzie spray on. Hey, what do we got? Hey, look at that. I'm at top dead center and it is perfectly at 1.2, yeah. So now we get to the fun bit. Thank you, Yvette. Alright, so 2 seconds. I will bring you around and talk to you. Alright, so we get to the sort of serious end of the deal now. So basically what you want to do, you need to loosen off the injection line nuts so that you can actually rotate the pump. There's also 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts that actually hold it in place. I'll see if I can get a video of it so you can sort of see where they are, but it might be a bit hard. So basically from here, yeah, you loosen all those off and then you rotate the pump, and that's what either retards or advances the timing. So once I get to that stage, I'll try and sort of show you with actually when I sort of rotate it. So I'll loosen them all off now and then I'll come back and show you the next bit. All right, so here we go on this. I don't know if you're going to see much, but back in here, sort of, well, actually back in behind here, you can't really see it. There's a bolt there. There's also a tricky bolt. It's a real bugger of a bolt. And it's, oh, I can't quite see it there. So it's down in, get my hand in there if I can. Okay, it's on the other side of this, of the pump, down in here. And that's what I made this one up for. So basically, you imagine this is the engine block, and then imagine that's the pump here. So this one here goes down in beside. I get it onto the bolt, rotate it this way towards the injector pump, slide it off, back on again, and do it like that. It's a real prick of a bolt to get to, unfortunately, but has to be done. It's also, there are, let's see if I can bring a bit of light around. So these are your injector line nuts that you got to loosen off, and there's also a bolt here and a bolt down the bottom that you got to do as well. So I'll do those now and I'll get back to you. And also, you can sort of see there now, you saw the 1 revolution before, and then before it was sort of around 5.5 or something, because I went past top dead center. It's actually really critical that you get it right on top dead center, because, you know, like if you're out on top dead center, then you're going to be way out here. So I was only out of top dead center down there by, you know, like 2 mil at the most, like a real small amount, but, you know, it was out by a lot on the gauge. So make sure, take your time and make sure that you establish top dead center correctly, so that you get an accurate reading. So, all right, move along. All right, so I have loosened off the 4 bolts and the 4 nuts on the injector lines. So now basically what I can do is, let's put this up here. Okay, so we've got our injector pump here, boost compensator up here on the top. There we go. So basically what we do from here is rotate the pump either away from the block or towards the block. So if I move it away from the block, so if I get the pump, hold the pump, and then move it this way away from the block, that will be retarding the pump. But if I push it towards the block, then that will be advancing the pump. Okay, so I'll try and film this. It'll be bloody hard, but I'll give it a go. I can put that. See if I can. All right, I'll see if I can do it with my hands in the way and everything. So I've already moved it a little bit. You can see it's come off the 1.2. I'm at about 1.23 at the moment. So I'm going to aim for about 1. Oops. I'm going to aim for. Aim for 1.33, which is sort of in the middle of the specs. There we go. That's better. Yeah. So obviously, then, so if I want to advance it, as I said before, I have to go towards the block. So I'm going to physically hold the pump and push it towards the block. Probably not going to be able to film this, but I'll give it a go. It's a bit hard. Can you see it? Yep. It's probably a bit hard, actually. Move that out of the way. Can you still see it? Yep. Let me see it. It's going to be hard to film. I'll show you in a second. Hang on. All right. So I figured out a way where I can probably film this and show you how it changes. Okay, so you just basically watch the needle. I'm going to try and bring it round to about 1.34 ish. And there you can see it. Hopefully I can still see it too. I can get it. Oh, it's bloody hard to film because I've got to sort of get my hand in there. Let's see if I can do it this way. Two seconds. Let's see if we can get it. Okay, so what's the dial gauge? There we go, see that? So that's currently 1.34-ish. Yeah. Okay, so you can see that the dial gauge indicator now is registering about 1.34, so I was at 1.2, now I'm at 1.34. So basically from here, what you need to do is tighten up all the those 4 bolts and the injector lines, you can double check. Actually, probably, yeah, you should double check your measurement. Basically, following the same process. So, rotate the engine backwards until the needle stops moving, and zero the gauge, or make sure the gauge is on 0, and then rotate back to top dead center and just check that the dial gauge has returned to the same position. And yeah, so I'll do that now, and then I'll get back to you. A video dropped out then, but anyway, I rotated it back and I've got top dead center now, and I can confirm that I'm at 1.33 at the moment. So the next thing I've got to do is take the timing gauge and dial indicator out, reinstall this one with the copper washer. It's actually a 14mm, that one. So get him back in. Once you got that, then you may need to adjust your idle speed. But we'll just see anyway. I'll show you when I start him up, and yeah, we'll go from there. All right, so that's pretty much the job done. What I just need to do now, yeah, start him up, and then maybe adjust the idle screw if I need to, depending on how it goes. But we'll get him going, see what it sounds like. All right, so yeah, all good. The revs were sitting at about sort of 650, sort of roughly there, so that's pretty good. That's what you need to do to change your injection pump timing. Enjoy.